So I don't know where this goes in the flight video, but we're starting to square away the build, and I'm sort of test fitting motors, seeing that I need order some different screws, which I've done. Some M2 by 10s or 12s, because the screws that came with these from Flightclub were the wrong size. They were not long enough to get through both the chassis and the actual guard. So I test fitted these. I purchased some additional landing skids, and this is just kind of up here to see how this would go, but I think we're going to end up with a configuration where I get the wires and the ESCs kind of test figuring these. This is going to be hidden by some blue, but I think we're going to end up with something like this. And I've got the case for the video transmitter, which will probably just ride up on top like this. And I'll probably secure it right there. It'll go between those two right there. I'm going to throw a buzzer, an alarm / voltage. I'll probably secure it with one tie strap right there. That way I can get that plugged in right there. So, I don't know if I can get this on film. Got my tripod settings too stiff here. Anyway, so that and the reach around for the plug-in on the power is probably going to go down here. So this will probably work. And the whole thing is to keep this out of the way of the props. So the props are going to be spinning, but you don't want it to hit. So I'll probably have this angled up some. I'll take care of that. We won't be hitting the battery on this side. This is where most of the stuff is at. So I'm not as worried about the fronts because they don't collide with this, which is really the only place where it can collide. Comes pretty close, but it doesn't. So this is roughly where I'm going to have this stuff all situated. But we had to do some significant modifications to I told you this wasn't going to be a build video. What do I do, right? Start making a build video. But the Flightclub power distribution board, this is getting hung up on the back end. So, the problem with this design that Flightclub has come up with here is that there's no clearance on between the board that they give you and the ESCs. So you couldn't actually sit two ESCs. See if I can zoom in and get this. Right there. Don't know why this is coming out blurry, but it is. So you couldn't actually ride two ESCs in here and have them sit side by side. So I had to significantly Dremel out this stuff from the sides here and a lot of material from here as well. from the front and the back to actually make this usable, because there was no room once you soldered up, you know, the ESCs to the board. They were all so jammed in there, you could never get the wires to, you know, the power. You would never be able to get the power soldered up and have room for the wires to sit there on top of these and still clear this opening. Still going to be tight, but I know now that's going to make it, and that's only by flipping this upside down from where it's intended to actually be done. So yeah, trial and error. Anyway, I don't know why I'm going to include this in the build video, but I thought it was worth mentioning anyway, for some reason. So that's it, that's where we're at, but that's what it's going to look like, or that's what it was going to look like, and we'll see where it goes from here. But that's where we're at with the build right now. We're going to start soldering things to the distribution board next, and then we're going to go with the just to get some of this to the side here. We're going to go with the nays, full nays 32, and my friend who does the 3D printing was nice enough to send me 3 different models for the stack. So now I'm going to have a functional stack. There's the version that's got the standoffs built into it. Hopefully this comes out less blurry than it's appearing on my monitor right now. Looks like it's not auto-focusing. Alright, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I've got a couple different designs. So I've got 3 different versions of the 3D print. We got long standoffs, short standoffs, and no standoffs, just in case I decide to use my own standoffs. And again, that's gonna fit right there nicely. So that's gonna be in this stack that I use for this build. Looking forward to that. And rather than going towards the expensive full nays look, we're going to do that instead. Instead of doing the cube stack, we're going to do our own ghetto stack, which I think is going to be just fine. And the pin headers match the chassis really well, so we'll bring you up to date when I've got this thing built. Don't even know why I really filmed this, but that's it for now. So, one of the other things worth mentioning is these motor guards from Flightclub are not as sorted for all versions of the QAV frame as you think. As you can see, these are mounted on top of the actual frame arm. And this is because it's the only way you can do it with the original QAV. This is actually the Rev 2 version of the QAV250 frame. It doesn't have the solid arms. There are holes in the arms, as you can see. The diagonals are in there. But It does have recessed areas. You can clearly see where it's recessed here, where the motor mounts go. And my zoom's not working. I don't think I've got a zoom on a movie, but whatever. But you can see that the problem is, even though they are brilliantly shaped and machined perfectly to fit right over those same dimensions of the arm, where they stick out in those 3 different places, it is a perfect fit. So these are really well done. These pieces are well done. The problem is that the material itself, the machined printed parts, the 3D print parts, the green parts, are not sufficient enough to hold up to the pressure of the bolts and holding a motor down with these recessed portions. So as soon as you start to put torque on it, the plastic just bends and goes right into those recessed sections. So we have no choice but to sit it on top, which is fine because you get more coverage over the motor, but it's not as slick looking as it looks with maybe the QAV250, okay, which has the same endings on the arm but is perfectly flat on the bottom, perfectly flat. So it's not beveled like this. This is recessed. The arms that are flat, if you have one that is flat, this is going to be a much, much better fit. So anyway, thought I'd mention that because it's kind of a shortcoming. Another shortcoming that I found on this firewall piece that Flightclub produces is I had to significantly bevel out, and you can't even see it here even with light, chunks and pieces of the firewall so that I could get the pins to come through. And I cannot zoom on this. There's just no way you're going to be able to see this, but I had to bevel out so much, remove so much of the material from the firewall so that those pins from the OSDoge and the flight controller itself could actually protrude out the back and not interfere with the battery, because the battery's got to go in there. But obviously those pins that come out right out the back, you need to be able to plug those in for telemetry for my FrSky telemetry. So I'm ultimately going to have to plug into those for my FrSky telemetry, which is no problem, but I had to Dremel out a lot. So again, Dremel work or some considerations for virtually all pieces of the Flightclub stuff, although this antenna mount is perfect. Very versatile and very easy to move. Both at the bottom of the chassis. I've had it at the bottom, but right now I've got it at the top for various reasons. But it's a great fit. Oh, I love that. So I'm just want to mention that, and that's it. Thanks.